What's up, gamers? The Red Dragon here, and we are discussing the Nintendo Wii U. So before you go throw down that $300 or $400 on a brand new console, I want to give you some things to consider and think about. I myself was on the fence for a little while about this console. I had mentioned several months ago whenever the console was first released that this might be something that I would be interested in getting because I love Nintendo, I love Mario, Zelda, all of those games that you can only get on that system. But I'm definitely not prepared to make the jump if I don't totally feel that this is really a next-gen console. So I've been paying a lot of attention to different reviews, different gameplay videos, and I've got some stuff here that I think you should know about and think you should hear, and hopefully it will help you make an informed decision. So the first thing that I think about when I consider next-gen console, and when I think about getting excited about the next-generation consoles, I get excited about the prospect of being able to do things that I can't do on my current generation console. On my Xbox, I can't play 64-player Battlefield. If I could play 64-player Battlefield on Wii U, that might help me make a decision to purchase the console. But the question is, can the Wii U even handle that? And is this really a next-gen console? I think that's a big question. And I think in order to answer that, you have to look at what people are saying about it, and you have to actually look at the facts and what's happening whenever people are running these consoles through tests and seeing what their performance actually is. So I'm going to look at a few different articles that I want to share with you today. The first one comes from Digital Foundry. They hooked up the Xbox, PlayStation, and the Wii U, and they tested all three platforms on the same game. They took Black Ops 2 and they ran them both and did several tests. And here's what they found. Graphically speaking, there's not much difference between any three platforms. It's hard to see a clear winner when it comes to graphics. So I guess you could look at that as good news if you're a Wii user because you're getting as good graphics as you get on the Xbox and PlayStation. But if you're an Xbox or PlayStation user, you're probably thinking, why would I get a new console to get the same graphics that I already have? But let's look at the next section of the test. They actually went through and tested the CPU. How fast can the system keep up with what's happening on screen? So Call of Duty games, they strive for a 60 frames per second pace. And it's kind of hard on the system whenever you have a lot of action on screen. If you have a lot of explosions, if you have a lot of characters running around, that's a lot of information for the processor to take in and to be able to display and all that. So what they did was they hooked all three of them up, and what they found was that Xbox was the top performer when it comes to frames per second. It hovered around close to that 60 frames per second almost the whole time. PlayStation came in second, and the Nintendo Wii U, the brand new next generation console that just came out, came in third place. It was last. In fact, sometimes the frames were all over the place. Sometimes they dropped down below 30. And this, I think, is pretty troubling for a brand new console that just came out on the market. You know, look, Nintendo people, here's what they're going to say. Here's their argument against this test. They say, look, if you look at games whenever they first released on the Xbox or PlayStation, they didn't look as well as they do now. They don't perform, or they didn't perform as well as they do now, because now developers have had time to tinker with the system. They know how to get the maximum benefits out of the system. So developers just need a little bit more time with the Wii U to figure this out. So let's say, okay, let's say that's true. Let's just set this article aside and let's look at what other developers and people are saying about the system. Metro Last Night. This is a pretty popular game, or it's going to be a popular game, and the developer was asked a few days ago, is this a game that we could see on the Nintendo Wii U? And this is a developer that says, quote, probably not because it's, quote, slow and horrible CPU. So it's not good when you have a high-end developer calling your brand new system horrible and slow. And he's not the only one. Battlefield 3, the lead designer, he was talking about this on Twitter, and he's saying that all the people that he knows that knows a lot about this, they're all saying the same exact thing. The CPU for the Wii U is slow. And even though it has really good RAM, because Nintendo people like to talk about how it has double the RAM of the other consoles, he says RAM and GPU are good for shaders and textures loading in game, but when it comes to actual physics and gameplay, actual stuff happening on the screen, he says CPU is where you go for that. And if you have a slow bottleneck CPU, what that's going to affect is things like player count. So what that tells me is that he basically just let out that Battlefield 3 64 players probably not going to be happening on the Nintendo Wii U because the system simply can't handle it. And there's another story that just broke right before I started doing this commentary where a popular Wii hacker has published supposedly the Wii U CPU specs, and what they found was the processor is like half the speed of the PlayStation and Xbox. Now it has other advantages, but that can't be good. And so I'm having a hard time being sold on this system, as I think a few people are. And I mean, $300 or $400 for next generation console, I'm just not convinced that this is truly next gen console. It just seems to me that Wii U is finally catching up to the current generation consoles, but it's not going to surpass it. And come next year or the year after that, the next generation Xbox and PlayStation, I'm afraid, are just going to completely blow this out of the water. Now, the one thing Wii U does have going for it is the first-party games, but each console has their first-party games. The Xbox has Halo. Wii U has Mario and Zelda and games like that. And yes, those are a selling point for some people, and some people will go out and buy it just for that. And I don't fault them at all, because if you love your system, that's great. I'm glad you do. But as far as me as a consumer, as somebody who's a gamer and looking for new experiences, I just don't see me getting those with a Nintendo. I mean, the tablet controller, that's all cool and nice and things, but I mean, the Xbox has also announced Smart Glass, which talks like they'll be able to do a lot of the same things that the Nintendo controller can do. And yeah, you can unplug and walk around the house with your game and everything, but if you want a walk around mobile gamepad, then you'll probably go buy a PlayStation Vita or something like that. When I'm playing on my next generation consoles, I want to see better graphics than what I'm seeing right now. I want to see new experiences that I haven't seen before on the consoles. I want to be able to play those games like PlanetSide 2 and have 2,000 characters on screen. I want to be able to talk to people across different games. I want those experiences to build. I don't want to just go purchase another system which can basically give me most of the same experiences that I can now. I mean, I can stream my Netflix. I can do all those things that Nintendo is just finally catching up to. And I just don't see enough extra features to make this worth my while for buying. Post below, let me know what you think about the Nintendo Wii U. Is it next gen? Is this a next generation console? Do you really think that? And if so, I'd love to hear your comments. Again, I'm not a Nintendo hater. I'm glad that a lot of people out there are enjoying their console. It's just not for me. It's not worth it whenever PlayStation and Xbox are just right around the corner, and they are looking to bring a lot more to the table than the Nintendo is. And so that's just my personal opinion and take on it. If you want to read these articles, these tests that I've talked about in this video, links are in the description below. Please give me a like, subscribe for more, and that does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.